All right, Crystal, I'm excited to hear a couple of the little nuggets that you came away with from the weekend. I don't want to steal any thunder, but I have to tell you, your post today was so good. And I won't, everybody just go look at Crystal's page, or she might share it now, but that was like spot on for not only for you, but for me and for so many people that are on a health journey. I think sometimes we kind of look at it a little bit differently. So thanks for sharing that, and take it away.
Cool. Everybody good? Hear me okay? Thumbs up. Okay. So I was at Rise conference, and if you guys don't know who Rachel Hollis is, well, maybe you live under a rock. I'm not sure, but she is like a media mogul. She has a book called Girl Wash Your Face. And another book, Girl Stop Apologizing. It's just she's a motivational speaker. That's really what she does. And she does this conference. And I had the honor, pleasure, whatever you want to call it, of going. I really feel blessed to have been there because it was exactly what I needed right now. I know some people on here might not know my story. I've been coaching. It'll be 5 years in May. And it'll be 5 years ago in March that I started and got to do this amazing program and lost 100 pounds, and it was amazing. Kept it off really well for a couple years, and then, started to have the struggles that I think a lot of our clients have. We all know the program is amazing and it works. It's that keeping the weight off that is an amazing thing. I mean, I have not gained it all back. I can guarantee that's because of coaching. So you guys are all in the right place. But some of it has come back on, and I was struggling with the why is this happening? And I think this year I was really looking for something just to reset my head. And this conference came at the perfect time. Start of January, start of a new decade. I thought for sure this was going to be what I needed to hear. And it was. So Rachel's conference is divided into 3 things. It's about owning your past is a whole day, and owning your present is a whole day, and then owning your future is a whole nother day. And you kind of work through these different things. And if you can go, I highly recommend it. She's got 3 more stops this year. Totally amazing. But the own your present day is where I'm going to kind of talk. I mean, we all have our past. We all have our story. I think, and it wasn't even Rachel that said it. It was someone in the audience that said this about your story. Your story is your superpower. And that one really hit me because I was like, I think that I forget that I have a story. I've been out of the story for 5 years. I lost that weight a long time ago, so I don't even think about my story anymore. But when you're telling your story, even if you think you're telling it to people who've heard it 100 times, there's one person listening that hasn't heard it before. And that kind of like made me stop and think that it really is. It's your own. It's just yours. It's nobody else's. Even if you think it sounds like somebody else's, it isn't. And it's your superpower. It's what makes us who we are. So I thought that was kind of cool. And that wasn't even from Rachel. That was just some random person in the audience. But the Own Your Present Day was really actually all about health, which I thought was really cool that she does this. But I think a lot of people use motivational speakers to find that motivation to want to get healthy, which is where we get to come in. But we get people coming with all different kinds of mindsets of what health really looks like. And she starts her thing that starts off with really trying to figure out where you're at on the scale of what you consider is good health. And it was really interesting because I think a lot of people, and maybe I can share this graphic like with a picture later to the group or something, but it starts with a scale from 0 to 10, 0 being like you've got every disease in the book that goes along with being unhealthy, and 10 being, you're out there running marathons and just rocking every part of your health. And most people fall in the 4 to 6 range, where they think they're doing pretty good. They're not on a lot of medications, or any medications for that part. They might be a little overweight, but they can still get up and do things. But the name of that zone is false wellness. And how many of our clients live in false wellness? Like, that was just like a huge thing to me, because I realized I was doing that. Like, yeah, I'm off all those medications. I'm not on anything anymore. I feel like I'm doing pretty good. Yeah, I'm not perfect, but I'm totally in this false zone. Like, just a couple degrees one way and I'm already back into bad health. Like, literally a couple degrees. So it was just like kind of an eye-opening thing that realized that I've been living in this okay false wellness. and I'm a health coach. Like I should know better, but we don't. I think we get comfortable, which again, bad 4-letter word. So yeah, like a false comfort zone. Exactly. So that was really a cool takeaway. There's like, I could go into like hours, guys, but I'm not going to. I'm trying to narrow it down. So I really enjoyed that kind of side of things. And I love that she talked about health kind of from a different angle. Like, we do, yes, we know it's not all about a number on a scale, and it's not just about losing weight. We really focus on the non-scale victories and all that kind of stuff, which I really think is huge. And it really aligned well with what Rachel was telling people. But what got me is that you can't come from a place of hate to start a health journey. And I know for me personally, that's where I came from. I hated myself. I couldn't stand to look at myself in a mirror. I couldn't stand what I had become. Like I came from that place of hate. And, you always hear people talk about, oh, love the body you're in. And Rachel was kind of doing that a little bit. And I was with another health coach at this conference, and we're both like, yeah, but like, we're waiting for the tweak. Like, when is she going to tweak it? And all of a sudden, the day 2, she said, you can't come from a place of hate or the change isn't going to last. Because if you hate yourself that much, it's not going to matter what that number on the scale says. You're still going to hate yourself. Like, that's just a mental shift that has to happen. So along the way, whether it's before you start or along the way, you have to learn to love yourself in the body you're in. Now, that might not mean you love yourself, but you have to love yourself enough to want to change. And that's what my mind shift was. I finally realized that I can't keep hating myself. I can't keep hating myself for making mistakes and gaining some weight back and doing all this. It's really about, yeah, I do love myself. I love this body. It has gotten me a lot. It's gotten me a kid. That's totally amazing. It's gotten me where I'm at. But if I love it this much, then I want to love it when I felt my best, which was 40 pounds ago. So I started back on track, day 2. And, already down 5 pounds because our program is amazing. But that's where we come in as health coaches. I think for me as a coach, this is going to completely shift how I work with my clients, because I think I can't come from that place of hate that I was doing. And I'm going to truly work with my clients about finding out what they love about themselves and focusing on that while they get healthy, because that's going to be a huge thing. So those are some of my takeaways, guys. Like I said, I could go on for hours, but for coaching wise, I was really surprised how much what Rachel Hollis teaches about loving yourself really felt into what we do as Optavia coaches. And there was a couple times like Julie and I were looking at each other like, oh, we've heard that before. Because a lot of what we get on our training is very similar to that, because we do teach that. So just know, I think that our company is on the right track here. I think for me, hearing it from a non-Optavia person was where I needed that shift. I know that sounds crazy, but it just was. So I highly recommend, like, go out and listen to the podcast, listen to the stuff, hear what we're getting from Optavia from other people, because it's literally the same thing. And sometimes you just need mom to tell you different than dad. So, okay, I'm going to stop because otherwise I'm going to keep going and take up the whole night. But those are a few of my takeaways. If you can go see Rachel Hollis, I highly recommend it. For the guys out there, Trent Shelton is amazing. He's an ex-NFL player. And he talked at our conference, and I mean, blew my mind, like, with his motivation. So good. He's on Instagram. You can follow him. He does all these Facebook videos and YouTube videos. His TED Talk is awesome. So those, if you're not into Rachel Hollis, she's a little, girl power. So for the guys out there, Trent was amazing too, and I really enjoyed him. So, okay, I think that's all.
Are you sure? Because that was awesome. It's way better than anything I was going to share.
I don't know. I was looking through my notes to see if there was something else.
Give us one more.
One more?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Let me look through my notes and see if I can come up with like a really good one to end it.
I'll, like, while you're doing that, like what she just said though about non-Optavia events, like, just get a different perspective too, because there is a lot of good training out there. And then it's also eat the fish, spit out the bone, right? I mean, not everything is going to apply directly, but there's so much information, and there might just be that one person that speaks directly to you and you hear it differently. And maybe it is the same thing that you've heard at a conference, but you're in a different place and you are open to it. So if there's ever anything to go to, like I've loved going to some other conferences, and just there's always knowledge that you can grab from anything. So are you ready?
Yeah, I think so. And I think along those lines, like, I mean, Rachel teaches a lot about personal development, and that was something I didn't really think I needed. Like, I was like, oh, you know, I've got my stuff together. I'm, you know, doing this whole thing. But you don't realize even if you don't think you have a past. Like, I had a great childhood. I don't have these like crazy stories, but there's something in my past that is blocking me from going forward in the future. And it really took kind of digging through that, which sucks so bad, guys. I can't even tell you how bad it sucks. But in the other side of it, like, it has made me learn, even though Optavia taught this to me before, it kind of opened up my mind how to look at it from a different perspective. And she had a whole thing about looking at things in different perspectives. So, but the last thing I was going to say, so she focused on triggers a lot. Now with her big triggers were, she can't stand to have people mad at her. So that triggered her anxiety, which triggered her to eat. So it's working through those triggers. But I thought that the cool thing that she said is you can't always change the trigger, but you can't, like, dude, the triggers are still going to come at you. But you can change the action that you do when that trigger happens. And I thought that that was really a cool way to say it too, that the triggers are still going to be there. It's how you respond to those triggers. And I know this is all stuff we probably heard from Optavia, but it was kind of cool hearing it from a different perspective on that side of things, because for her, it was triggering her anxiety. For a lot of people, it triggers that eating, like that emotional eating thing. And so really working through where those triggers are, which she really recommends keeping like a diary of, you know, okay, so this happened and I ate today, and then work back from what happened through the day that led to the stuffing your face with a whole box of Twinkies, and kind of work backwards and write down. And then you're not going to know it the first time. She says a lot of times these triggers are so deep that we don't even know that they're triggers until 3 days later. We're like, why did I just eat all that? I don't even know what just happened. And she's like, I can remember like literally looking and seeing, her thing is Ritz crackers. I don't know why, but she would see Ritz cracker wrappers and she'd be like, why did I get to this point? And she would have to work backwards. So I thought that was really good to kind of use with clients too, because we all talk about triggers and food triggers and that kind of stuff. But it's really about journaling about what happened that day. And it might take a month or two to kind of work through when those triggers happen to see what is actually the trigger. And you might think it's one thing and find out it's something totally different that's actually the trigger that causes it. And then once you know your trigger, figuring out what that action is going to be to switch it to, okay, I'm not going to eat, I'm going to get up and go for a walk and get out of this room, or whatever your action is to not go back to that original. So, okay, now I'm done.
Awesome. Everybody give Crystal a round of applause.